just love the drama.
Biggest U-turn since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, poops joke, hot ones.
No, let me tell you, I don't have to look at this objectively at all.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week. Ladies and gentlemen, he's gone. He's no longer part of us. It's disparu at this point. Let's play Kool and the Gang Celebration, but because of copyright on YouTube, I can't play it, so I'll just give you a little shoulder dance and a head bob. Joining me tonight, I've got Ash and Stevie, and Charlie's, after taking a respite from podcasting, she's back. Charlie, you've been treading the boards, have you not?
I have indeed, but I'm back just in time for everything to be okay. Isn't that great? It sounds like it worked out splendidly.
Yeah, everything's going well. You've crept back on Twitter. You're creeping back on podcasts. You're fair weather fans, are you, Chess?
Absolutely. I'm only here for the good times, so I'm scarcely here. So I've spent a lot of time here.
Tell us about the show. Tell us about what you're doing.
We're doing a Terry Pratchett play called Weird Sisters. Turns out nerds love coming to the theatre, so we had our most successful show since COVID. So that's really lovely.
Sorry, let me make a note of that. Nerds. I don't know if my headphones are working. Nerds like what?
Nerds like coming to the theatre and seeing plays. So we sold loads of tickets to a bunch of lovely people. So that was nice.
Sweet child of mine.
But now I've got post-show leg, so I'm gross.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I also would like to offer an on-air apology to Charlie. As you can see, we're both wearing the third strip, and I said, "Charlie, does yours have a sponsor on it?" And I stood up like this to show that mine has the Mr. Vegas branding, and she stood up and just put it, bits against the camera, and it felt like it was a
She's back. She's back.
Here we are. What about these chaps? That's it. That's how you get clicks and likes on the internet. What about that?
The 5-minute preview, 12 o'clock.
Oh, no.
So I've heard.
We've set the tone early. Ashley, looking very swish in your new little studio. Is it ergonomically correct and whatnot?
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. Yeah,
acoustically, not ergonomically. Acoustically.
Yeah, acoustically. Yeah, I've had a bit of a decorate. Yeah, there's other stuff to go and stuff, but yeah, it's busy, mate. Yeah.
Stevie, you've been in Huddersfield today, haven't you? Molly's becoming the next LeBron James.
Yeah, she's spent the day at Aspire doing her basketball. So she's been up there from 10 till 6. She's up there again. 10 till 4. Up there again for another 6 hours tomorrow. We may yet unearth somebody who's going to get to the WNBA and make me a millionaire, because podcasting ain't going to do it.
It's not paying. It's not paying. All this that's gone off, this is the best it's ever going to be in terms of people viewing this show, and we're still in the poorhouse. So I'm still buying my shirts from China. So right then, boys and girls, welcome to the show. Listen, Stevie, Ash, we play Middlesbrough on the week. We do review the games. Let me get the rundown. All right, I deleted it earlier on, but the lineup was available and I deleted it. So listen, lads, get into the Middlesbrough game. Let's talk more about the atmosphere and what the plan was. Stevie, I'll come to you first about it. Let's just make it quick because it seems like a million years ago.
Yeah, so obviously the news had broken beforehand that Middlesbrough was going to be our anointed boycott game. It was on Sky. I think we covered it to an extent last week, said that this was what was coming on, and obviously unless you've been living under a rock, you'd be aware that was a situation. True to word, the vast majority of fans decided that they were going to stay away. They watched it on TV. Notably, the Supporters Trust had their projector outside.
Oh, that was great. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was really well covered. And just the whole visual of it all looked really sort of stark, and that obviously got a lot of traction in the local press and on TV as well. Obviously, Sky Sports picking it up because they were there. I think the announced attendance was 7,081. It wasn't publicly and officially announced, but the records will show it 7,081, of which I think there were more Middlesbrough fans reportedly in the stadium than there were Sheffield Wednesday fans. So fair play to those people that have made their choices and decided to stay away. The feeling after the game was it worked, and yeah, it sort of catalysed things to move a little bit quicker than they were. There was also a game of football. Morgan Whittaker scored a goal. We had Joe Lumley in goal. He nearly killed somebody. Didn't give a penalty away. We were much better. We were much better once that happened, and I think we were good value for. We were unlucky not to get a point at the end of the day. I thought we did well against a team that will be up there at the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was a decent showing from the Wendy's. Ash, have you got anything to add, or shall we just go straight into the Oxford game?
No, not really. Just echo what Stevie said, obviously, about the boycott game. There was always going to be people turn up, and there's no shame in that. You do you. But yeah, obviously, a lot of people did boycott it, which is fantastic to see as well. So it was, now it was the final nail in the coffin, weren't it, so to speak. So yeah, I thought, and I know a lot of people, I put us down for a draw on the prediction, and everyone else went for 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 losses. Just echoing that, I think the second half performance was really good. It was out of character because everyone thought second in the league, they've been on a good run of form, and we've got the threadiest squad going with injuries to George Brown as well. That was announced, wasn't it? So, I was quite impressed, and we've said it on this show many times in the last few weeks that I think no one can really argue with the players apart from Ike Ugbo and the effort and the way they've gone about their business with Henrik Pedersen. So, yeah, for me, I thought Middlesbrough was a good showing by the fans and a good showing by the men on the pitch as well. So.
Yeah, I think that was it was genuinely nice to see. I thought you're right, Ash. I thought that was a great performance against a team that are, to use a phrase, going great guns. Okay, so let's move on to the Oxford game. Going into the Oxford game, Chaz, I felt a sniff that the crowd might. They're going to be buoyant. You know what I mean? I'm going to get into what used to be called the timeline of terror. It's now called the timeline of triumph. I'm going to get into that post talking about this game, but obviously we can drop in and out. I felt that with the newfound confidence and the newfound voice that the fans would have, I felt like this could have been a win for the Owls.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we all know what that kind of backs against the wall spirit thing does at Hillsborough. Like we saw it in the the second leg against Peterborough. Like it's very much that kind of when she's packed, when she's bouncing, it's a really formidable place to play. And I think it's probably also a little bit of a naughty game for Oxford, a little bit. Like they probably, prior to the bombshell, they'd have probably been like, oh, we'll walk this. But they must have been aware then going that they were going to be going, it's going to be sold out, practically sold out kind of thing. And I think for the players, like having had them come out, like particularly like Bannon having come out and sort of said how much it's affected them not having crowds there, you can sort of then see, well, in theory, if we've got tons of us there cheering you all on, by rights, then therefore you should put in a good performance. So yeah, I think certainly there was a real aspect of it's not about the football either as well. To a certain extent, it was more than just what the game was going to be. And I think having that little bit of a sense of that sort of made it easy. It probably took the nerves off a little bit. They could have got pumped 10-0, and to a certain extent, everyone would have still been like,
we'd have still been cheering and shouting.
We'd have still been cheering and gobbing off. So.
And having pints at half time. I should also just go on to mention, it's taking me 10 minutes to remember this, that Alex Miller will be joining us in about 20 minutes to try and make sense of some of the things on and off the field. I should have mentioned that earlier on. Now, as we go into what we were talking about, our feelings prior to the game starting, these were our predictions. Holly went with 3-1, Ash 1-0, John 1-0, me 1-0, Simon 2-1, Stevie 1-0, and Charlie was on crack and decided... Really went for a 3-0 win. Phoned that one in, didn't you, Chaz?
Yeah, I was when you asked for the prediction, I had at that point had a lot to drink. I was delirious. So
was that along the thread where you went, I'm really, really drunk and I'm with my friends and I'm talking to him about Wednesday and he's gone and nobody else here cares. It's just me.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy.
Like,
Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Give me 20 minutes and a double G&T. I just need to talk at you. Like, I know you don't care. Just sit there and shut up. And I'm going to talk to you about this. And then I'm going to have 4 more gins. So, yeah, I think I did say when I gave my prediction, I wanted a drunk disclaimer on it. I specifically did say, please point out.
You really did.
We'll start putting a pint emoji, Ash, next to, yeah.
There's a reason. There's 2 reasons why I ask at 10:30, 11 o'clock on a Friday night. That is one of them, because a lot of you go out drinking and all that. And the second reason is I forget to do it so early on. So
Okay, so listen, we normally talk about the lineup, but I don't think we need to talk about it too much. Lumley, Fuzia, Palmer, Iorfa, Maxlow, Amas, Valerie, Ingleson, Bannon, J-Lo and Kadamatri. Once again, it all comes down to the fact with who's going to be starting up front, because that's the only position we've actually got any depth in. Lumley obviously joined us through the week, but once again, we'll get into that later on. So, Stevie, the game started. Let's talk about the change in atmosphere and about the things that happened before the game. Let's start into some of that.
Yeah. So, given the good news that was, obviously, I say good news, given the news that sort of dropped on Friday, and I think the biggest factor in it was the sudden acceleration of communication. I suppose you'd say there was a lot of communication. Having gone months of nobody was talking, within 10 minutes, the admin were there and Sky Sports were there and they were willing to speak to people. And I know we're talking Saturday, but just that communication created an upward trajectory, an upward feeling, a groundswell of positivity, if you like, in terms of being there on Saturday. And there was a message sent that we needed to be out there and support. And we answered that as best we possibly could. I wanted to go down there as early as possible. Met my sister. She picked me up. We dropped down and we park up Herries on Scraithwood, I think it is, the little estate that goes just under the bridge and up. And as we were travelling down the hill, cars were lining there at 1 o'clock. You could see, you knew it was going to be busy and you could feel it. Walked down to the shop. Absolutely rammed. It was absolutely heaving. There were people saying it was 100 deep. There were people talking about the fact that they'd been queuing there for 45, 50 minutes, if not longer. The gear was just flying off the shelf, sort of thing. There were no shirts left. Actually, there was the away shirt left, but that's another story. You can see which ones are the more popular ones. So, getting into the ground. We've gone from having nobody on the concourse to the concourses being absolutely rammed. One thing I would say, there was an appeal for people to be patient, and people were being patient because there was less in terms of kiosk staff, in terms of supplies. There wasn't a great deal of food on the south. They sold out relatively quickly. Some of the kiosks were being operated by one person only, which led to a sort of a delay, but there was no negativity. It was all positive. And then you got out there, and as soon as you walked out onto your seat, it was buzzing, it was vibrant. You could feel that there was something different in terms of the atmosphere. I think the reality is we didn't expect there to be anything significantly different in terms of the performance, because it's the same team, isn't it? At the end of the day, we expected a better result because I think we thought that Oxford wouldn't be as good a side as those that we played, but going in there at sort of 2:45, walking out into the stadium, if you like, into the arena, it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I was smelling a win as soon as that happened, and then was the player statement prior to the game? Am I getting that right? Okay.
My recollection is it was Friday night.
Okay, so prior to the game, the players released a statement. Obviously, there was a groundswell of things that Chansiri had held back over his more recent period of his tenure, and obviously the players were frustrated as well. And so there was 122,000 people watching a live stream of the seats getting removed from the North Stand, which I thought was absolutely incredible. 122,000. That is, I can't even do the maths, but I'm pretty sure I'd love to work that out in percentages of a 6,000 seater stadium, or you know what I mean? Like that's 4 Hillsboroughs sat watching seats get removed. You know what I mean? And then the players released a statement saying, to the fans of to all fans of our club, we the players want to say directly to you, our supporters, how much we appreciate the lengths you've gone to protect this great club and that we all love so much. Whilst we fully understand your stance and the measures you've took to force change as a group, not having you in the ground has been felt by all of us. And I think Barry Banner said the same, didn't he, when we spoke to him after what has been a period of division and a feeling of disconnect between the club, the players, and the fans. We now hope this is the time we can all come back together under the badge and enjoy our football again. So we ask you, starting tomorrow against Oxford, please come back to Hillsborough, cheer the team on. Let's make the ground a place for teams to fear as we do everything to get the points we are going to desperately need. Think back to the comeback against Peterborough, wins against Arsenal and Newcastle. That was you in the stands as much as it was us on the pitch. We won't ever give up, and we ask you not to give up on us. Together we are stronger. Together we can fight the players. I thought that was incredible. I'm sorry I absolutely fluffed my lines trying to read that. I would have preferred a till the wheels fall off at the end of it, but that was absolutely insane. I absolutely loved it. Now, there was the wonderful video that got played before the game. Ash, tell me about the video.
It was, it's the media staff. No doubt it's the same media staff that's been there for years, but it just seems like the shackles have been released, and it just shows you what under who or what they've been trying to work under, because there's obviously a lot of creative people there that want to tell a story and emphasize how much Sheffield Wednesday and the fans and everything, and it hasn't been done, has it? So the video that was released, as well as the statement, and just from Friday morning, should we say, that the media team have excelled themselves, and for whatever they've been done or could have been done, it's been fantastic. So really good, mate. The video, the statements, everything that they've done. So.
Honestly, it's like you know, like if you had a job and all the managers just got sacked on the same day, and it was like run by the kids. You know what I mean? Like all the teachers have left school and they've gone, right, we'll get his bloody name off there for a start, and let's get a video mugging him off. And then we had this pre-match huddle, which I thought was one of the greatest things, one of the best pictures I've ever seen. I absolutely adore this picture. That's Barry winding him up, and then Chaz, it went to shit. It didn't go to shit. That's really harsh. But I've never heard so many people have the wind pulled out of them from such a soft goal. And all of a sudden, there was a point where there was a realization that this is going to be a long season on the pitch. And I don't think any of the players are going to be under any scrutiny. Don't get me wrong. I know we're threadbare, but it really did take the wind out of us. And once again, the opposition scored as we're making noise on 10 minutes. Can we stop doing that, kids? Can we stop that? I mean, what was the one? Did we concede against Stoke or something when we were doing our chants against the chairman? Now we're clapping, everybody. Yeah, now we're up and about. They're still bloody scoring against us.
Yeah, it's a shame, and I think it's always going to be difficult, isn't it? Because I think that, you know, like the atmosphere at Hillsborough gets dragged up a lot, and you know, there was never going to be a good time, but I think that early on was a little bit of a shame. But surely in so many ways, most people were kind of like, it is what it is. I know I kind of felt that. I was like, oh, that's annoying. That's quite a crappy goal to concede. It was making me laugh that there were quite a lot of people already starting to immediately be like, oh, for God's, and you're like, come on. Like it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's we just don't have the depth, and we are just so anything we do and anything we can get is frankly a miracle at this point. And I think regardless of even the points deduction, we know we've seen little bits of some fairly cracking football, to be honest. I think we've arguably seen a better overall start to the season than that first start of the season under Cisco, really, when you think about it. Like we've had moments of absolute like brilliance, but generally we are where we're expected to be, points deduction or otherwise. So teams doing things like scoring goals against us, you're like, there it is. That's that old chestnut. So yeah, it was a bit of a shame.
And then Stevie, the misery was doubled down. Now, Harry Amas come under a bit of flack online. I don't know if you saw it for bobbing out the way. I thought he took a dive to try and hit that ball, but that was a good free kick that caught everybody off guard, wasn't it?
He's hit it well. He's hit it well. And I think there'd be people that would say, it's a great finish and what have you. I was really frustrated that, if you go back and look at his run up, he's hitting it. And although they've lined up as if to say, right, I'm going to cross it in, he started running. And I just think, without wanting to cast aspersions towards anyone, I think there are two
I will take no Joe
Lumley
Lumley slander on this show.
Mate, he's got to be better prepared there. I'm not going to slander the bloke. He's come in and he's done what he's done. He's done a solid job for us as a second emergency loan goalkeeper, given the circumstances that he's coming under. But I think if he's honest with himself, he'd be frustrated that he's been beaten by that strike because it's travelling. Yes, it bobbled and it dipped. It's bounced in front of him as well. But if you go back and look at it, at the time I thought, and I don't know if I've looked away and I'm looking in a different direction, but it seemed like there was only Bannon in the wall, and then Bannon and J-Lo have gone together. And as he's hit it, Bannon moves that way ever so slightly. J-Lo turns and goes that way. And I just feel it leaves a mass a little bit exposed in terms of, is it his fault? It shouldn't have even got to that point. If your wall stands up, I'd argue, I'd have to see it again, but I'd argue that it hits the wall. So I was a little bit disappointed with in the nature of the goal that we've conceded there. What we are sort of skirting over is the circumstances that led to the free kick in the first place. With God bless him, I know it was his 200th appearance, and I'm not a hater, but Dominic Iorfa trying to turn on a sixpence, and he did it 2 or 3 times on Saturday. Tried to do that stud rollback with the ball, which led to their guy going in and nearly scoring. I think it was at that same phase of play. And then obviously he's chased back. He's got himself out of it. Then we've conceded the free kick. Iorfa stood on the edge of the area going, I'm really sorry, that was my fault, sort of thing. And then we've just not regrouped. And you find yourself 2-0 down. And at that point, you're kind of thinking, this is a game that we should be, regardless of circumstances that we're talking about, this isn't a 2-0 game. However, at that point, they were absolutely the better side. I'm not saying they were overall over 90 minutes, but it felt like it was going to be another long afternoon, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. I mean, we're 2-0 down, and after that, and you were right, we were under the cosh for a certain amount of time. Then we went into half time, and then after that, Sheffield Wednesday were incredible. We whether it was Oxford sitting back and we tried to unpick them, that's an argument that I'll have with anybody. But I thought we managed that period of time in such a really professional way. We kept the ball. We didn't really. I think there was one time where the geezer went through and Lumley pulled a save out, but or they knocked it past the far beams, didn't they? But we were very good in that second half, and it was nice to see Sheffield Wednesday attacking the ball. And you could see that there was a moment where they've pushed players up, like Iorfa, and Bannon was at the back, quarterbacking everything. I thought that was great. And then Ash, it resulted into a goal from an unfamiliar face.
Well, Daniel, I've got something to admit here. We've scored 2 goals at Hillsborough.
And you've missed
Guess where I was for both goals?
Were you scabbing?
More often.
I went for a Jimmy Riddle, and there was a big roar, and I missed the goal. Mate. So but I've seen it on highlights. Obviously, a great strike, and it's his first professional goal. So well done to Sean Fuzeri. That scored his first professional goal for Sheffield Wednesday. Great strike. Like you said, he was playing at right back, not a position that he's familiar with. But I thought he did very well, and he won our TWW Man of the Match as well for that. You guys all voted. So.
Absolutely. Now, I don't want to draw on the football. We've got a lot of good news to get through, but we end up losing 2-1 at home. I felt plenty of positives to take out of that game. Now, go on, Stevie.
Can I just give you one very quick headline? That was the game. The game on Saturday was the game where we were on top in every metric.
Yes,
across all of them: possession, XG, shots. Everything that you name it, passing accuracy. We were the better side throughout. 67.2% possession we had, which was our highest possession by a significant number. we were good on Saturday, and I think a draw would have been a fair result, and I don't think Oxford would have argued if we'd have won.
Yeah, I think there might be an element of them coming away thinking they've got away with one. Now, as promised, ladies and gents, I do have a special guest for you this evening. He's absolute Sheffield royalty. Let's get him on after this.
Hold tight, kids. It's advert time. Hold tight, kids. It's advert time.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's local celebrity Alex Miller will be joining us on the show this evening. Are you all right, Alex? How's it going, pal? Can you hear me now, Flower? You're on mute. Tell us how you're getting on. It's a hell of an intro, that, isn't it? Bit of swing for you.
Yeah, I don't know what that accent was at the end, a bit borderline. But yeah, good, guys, good. It's been a good weekend.
Hell of a week. Hell of a week. I noticed that Joe got the annual leave in this time round.
Yeah, no, absolutely world class. You know what the best thing is? It was his first week off of the whole year.
Oh, yeah. You journalists know everything. You're telling me you didn't have an inkling and thought, I know, I'm going to leave Miller right in it here.
Well, yeah, it's something that could have happened over the last. When was it? October the 8th. It was first formally discussed, the idea of administration. We did a timeline piece that sort of told the tale of the tape. So we were sort of expecting it to happen before then, and then as it dragged on and Joe's week off is sort of looming, I'm like, I'm going to get left with this.
I tell you what, Alex, what would be a really good thing to do is get a calendar up and put your annual leave on it. And Joe's annual leave, and work out the headlines from the other ones written through the calendar year. And I in fact, you had a hell of a week off, didn't you? A couple of months ago or a few weeks ago, didn't you? When you were away,
it's absolutely incredible. I think the first 3 managerial changes, that I during my time covering the Star, I was away for. And then I think I was back for Darren Moore, and then I missed Cisco. So it's me. I'm the repeat offender.
Yeah. Alex is the problem.
Yeah.
Alex is the problem. So I tell you what, Alex, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around the room like I normally do, and you're going to be one of our panelists this evening. So what we're going to do, normally we go through the timeline of terror, but this is a timeline of triumph given the events that have happened this week. So Chaz, I tell you what, actually, Chaz, this one's a stinker. I'm going to give this one, Alex. Alex, late on Tuesday evening, news emerged that a further HMRC payment was due, and now we're in the realm of £1 million in the red. That one got added in. Was this the first snifter of Chansiri out that you felt coming?
Well, no, they already owed $1 million.
Yeah, and
then the one last week got it up to somewhere between 1.6 and 1.7.
Good Lord.
So yeah, the threat of a winding up order was already there. And obviously when that one drops, it becomes very, very serious indeed. So it was never a case. I've been asked this a few times. It was never really a fear that like winding up, that's the end of Sheffield Wednesday, and it ends up being, the Wednesday FC playing off Stocksbridge or whatever.
We have to rename this show.
Yeah. Which would be the bigger issue, of course. But yeah, no, because there was a period. This is really boring for a podcast, but it's a technical.
Go on, mate. We've got Stevie on here. We're not exactly here for pace tonight. You know what I mean?
But because there was a period where that winding up would have taken effect, anywhere between 4 and 8 weeks, the creditors could have put the club into administration.
Right. Okay. So in terms of going into administration, was it Chansiri's decision in the end?
It was.
But that was preempted just because the creditors could have done it anyway.
To an extent, yeah. I mean, if the winding up order had come in, you're talking frozen bank accounts and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Which was
just untenable
for him. Yeah, and he'll for the money that he's owed by the club, he'll now get pence on the pound where it wouldn't have worked out that way. It's all complicated stuff, and
it's all stuff that we've tried to educate ourselves on via just the headlines on Twitter. If I'm honest, Alex, you know what I mean. Yeah. So if you could put more information into just the headlines, that'd be really useful. So then Chaz, the Golden Elephants were moved inside the South Stand entrance because somebody was vandalising the Golden Elephants, and then this projection on the side of the Kop I thought was brilliant, Chaz. I thought it was great.
Yeah, just fantastic. I think, I don't know if anyone else felt this. I felt like the news almost came in like dribs and drabs that he'd actually gone, because I remember reading, because I've been off sick, so I remember reading like we've gone into admin, and I sort of did that thing where I went, well, that's enough phone for the day, and just kind of and was like, that's no more. And it was only then as I started
Chaz is online and all,
literally,
you know what I mean?
And then suddenly it was like, wait, this actually means hang on a minute. And then people are messaging me. A lot of people messaging me asking me for my in-depth financial opinions, and I was like, please don't do that.
Like, again, Alex, if you could put more information into just the headlines, you know what I mean, that'd be really useful. That was Wednesday, and then Stevie, we got a new signing. We got Joe Lumley over the line after Ethan Horvath's attempted murder against Charlton. I thought against Middlesbrough he made some absolute box office saves, but you could see why he was third choice where he was.
Yeah, I think it was just we were in that situation, but it was just the uncertainty, wasn't it, around who was going to be starting in goal against Oxford, and there were people sort of asking whether or not it would be him or Horvath. But my understanding is that it had to be Lumley because Horvath, because of the nature of the loan and the emergency sort of situation. If he'd signed for 7 days, it had to be him. Which it effectively put it all to bed, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was.
I think my understanding was that they had to nominate the games that he had to play, and they didn't know whether he was going to get a 1 match ban or 2 match ban. I think so. They nominated him to play, and then in that 7-day period, he had to play. So I think that was
I love that we're speculating on this when we could just ask the fella.
Just ask Alex. I know.
Alex, is that true, or are we just making things up on the internet? He's fucking rubbish as well.
I should make it up here and just say it with confidence, and that I'm not actually sure. But the EFL rule, however it sort of came about, he had to play both games. So So
there you go. He had to play the games. Now Friday came round, Ash. Big Friday. One of the biggest days in the club's history, especially in the last decade as well. Administration was announced. Now we're in this weird thing where administration is normally a bad thing, but I've never seen anybody celebrate administration like this. This is absolutely nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we've all grown up now in the last 20, 25 years that administration, that's it, it's the end of your club, that's it, minus points, deductions, everything's going wrong in the world. But it was quite the opposite, weren't it? It was.
Do you feel that the minus 12, like, is it because we were already kind of in our head subscribed to League One? We kind of know that's happening, so we go, yeah, whatever. No, he's gone. I don't mind. I don't care. And I feel like it might be that.
I didn't feel that. I thought that the bigger news was the bigger story rather than. I think the point was a minor headline in the big headline of Friday morning because it did come a little bit later, didn't it? It was an official announcement came later. So for me, no, the minus 12 was just a blip. Where the bigger story was the main story. And I think when it first come out, it was on the chats and the WhatsApp, it was like, is it just Sheffield Wednesday? There's an issue with the stadium. Is it Sheffield 3? What's happening? I think that was quite a lot of concern with people because of all the different things going around of what would happen if Sheffield Wednesday went into administration. There's Sheffield 3 But the announcement came shortly after that. It was, I think, I got sent a copy of the court layout, and it had Sheffield Wednesday, and then it had Sheffield 3 in the papers that were submitted to the court. So I tweeted that out, and I think that was like obviously confirmation that what everyone thought weren't going to happen, but it did. And I think that just put things into perspective of obviously it was the whole Sheffield Wednesday could become whole again.
Yeah, that was. I think that reassured. I think that reassured a lot of fans. Now, Alex, when you come on this show, I normally ask you really difficult questions and ask you to talk about the really hard stuff. But I'm gonna get you to talk about something nice. The Steve Bracknell kit launch video, like, you know what I mean. I know. Comedy characters and things like that are quite subjective, and people can talk about what their sense of humor is and stuff like that. But I thought the message of it was absolutely outstanding, wasn't it? Like, this is us, this is ours. There was something dead. Like, I'm annoyed we've lost, more so because everybody was like nuts deep in that entire vibe, right?
Yeah, it was spot on, wasn't it? And knowing Chris a bit, like knowing how much it hurt him to have to turn it down for all the right reasons. And obviously he'd said that publicly, and so there's so many different angles to that video. I think it was mentioned before when I was listening in the background. There's people at the club that, by association with Chansiri, have got a lot of stick recently, and I think unfairly. And I think this, the last few days where everyone's going, "Oh, the communication is changed. It's brilliant. It's the videos that the media team are doing, this, that, and the other. The ticket pricing. It just goes to show that the people there would have quite liked to do this stuff all along."
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And ultimately, a comms guy can only put out the comms that he's able to do. The guys in the ticket, or whoever makes those decisions, can only do what they're able to do. So it'd be nice to get a bit more of a clean slate from that regard, because we've seen in the last few days, what the actual attitudes are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Dan, can I just ask a quick question? Does that include you as well, then, Alex?
Yeah, come on, Alex. You can start calling him a prick now on the paper, can't you?
I'm not. Basically, what I'm asking is, obviously, there are things that you've been able to report, and I know, having spoken to you privately, there are things that I know that you can't say. Do you feel like you're going to be able to say a little bit more now, or be a little bit more open in terms of the way that you communicate around the club?
In terms of what we report and stuff, no, I don't think so, because I think there's always been sort of a view of, they can't go too far because they'll get kicked out and stuff. Well, I think anyone that's read our stuff over the last year or two,
you were already you'd already stepped through significantly through that looking glass a few months ago, didn't you? But do you feel like it can be a bit more vociferous now, and just because obviously reporting facts is essentially your role, right?
Yeah.
And you can't put really too many editorial comments in there and things like that. But I also know that you also have to toe a certain line, especially with somebody volatile as Chansiri.
Like, fantastic businessman makes further great. Like,
put that in your
even if you
headline.
just put the cold hard facts in, it's going to read a certain way, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
That's genuinely it. And the opinion pieces. I stopped doing opinion pieces on Chansiri a little while ago because it almost felt a bit lazy. Like, it's a crowd pleaser, and it'd get me numbers up and stuff. But I'd rather spend that time digging around for the stuff that we've actually reported in the last few months. Yeah, but yeah, the answer I think is probably no, Stevie, because the stuff that we know, like you said, there's a higher threshold for having a conversation about stuff that you've heard and stuff, between that and actually put it in the newspaper.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Despite what some people might think about, they've got to toe a line or they can't go too far. If we believe something to be true and we can prove it to be true beyond all doubt, it was going in the paper. There was never any. That's another thing about I think it's fair to say that a number of us would have been banned from the club a number of times had it not been for people working beneath Chansiri who get a lot of stick, who knew it was important that I don't know, ladder between the club and the fans remained, and we saw at Blackburn that Elliot, who's a Wednesday fan, and a lot of your listeners will be familiar. He's been banned. It's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, the main man would have happily seen a lot of us chucked out and not return, and that's what what I mean. So there's a lot of different angles to it, but no, I think it works to say if there's something that what we might see in the next few weeks is more people willing to speak to us, and maybe on the record stuff. And so if you do see a glut of, this is Chansiri being a bad man, that wasn't out of fear. It's just because more people
just because it was true, and you were just reporting facts. I'll tell you what. Actually, listen. Let's put a quick advert break in. But I've got some news to announce after this one.
Don't skip ahead. Don't press that button. These ads are lean, not belly mutton. A tiny break before we pop, and don't forget the fun. Stop.
So coming up this week, I've been lucky enough to get myself on the rounds. I believe probably Alex, you've already pulled at this thread, but I wanted to get myself some. Look, I want to look for it. I want to look good in front of the journalist, lad. Like, come on, now, back me up here. But Steve and I tomorrow are going to be talking to one of the administrators in Chris Wigfield. I know Chris has been doing the rounds. Makes it sound like a disservice, but it's an opportunity to get the message out to the fans, because the message was come back to Wednesday. You've got your club back, and I want to give a platform to that. I know it's not the normal type of thing that we do here. We do the knob jokes and the Chansiri voice. And if you'd have been offline before, we'd have got the OnlyFans stuff. But there's a point here that I wanted to try and make, that getting Chris on and talking about it and spending a good amount of time with him will be a great opportunity to try and engage more fans who might not consume any of the other media that he's been on. You know what I mean? I want to get that message out as much as possible, because Chaz, the message is go and spend your money.
As if I've ever needed any encouragement to go. My husband was like, who is this admin guy? I hate him. Boo admin. Yeah. He's the only person in the wider Sheffield area that's bothered. Yeah, I was like way ahead of you. I got the app up. I was scrolling, training stuff, get in the basket. Yeah, go and spend your money. And it's a tricky thing to ask people to do.
Yes.
Because it's not just like, oh, feel free to spend now, carry on as you are, buy a pint. It's like, we need your money. Like, we kind of need everything you weren't doing, do it now. And that is,
I'm glad you've said that, Chaz. There
it's a
seems
complex
a little bit...
thing, isn't it? It's not normal service resumed. It's like, help, we're skint. Thanks for your help, but also now we are absolutely in the shit. And I think it treads a fine line, and I think hopefully nobody is going to bankrupt themselves trying to stop their club from going bust. The reports of people racking up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds in the club shop that hopefully was just hundreds and hundreds of pounds that they would have spent had they not been boycotting. It's a tricky one, isn't it?
It is a tough one. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna come to Ash on this very point. Now, regular listeners to the show know that I've known Ash for a significant amount of time, and he's renowned through our friend group as being somewhat thrifty. Tight prick is sometimes what's you. I think Charlie's got a good point there. It's a difficult line to tread, isn't it, Ash? Like, in terms of you may spend rather than can you please come spend. It's an odd line to go down, isn't it?
It is when you're offering the absolute beauty of a training top, but for 90 quid. It is absolutely lovely, but I ain't buying one. Not that. Yes, mate. It is because obviously we've said a cost of living crisis for God knows how many years now, haven't we? And understand that people are in different situations with their spare cash, we call it. And there is a lot of people that do want to help Sheffield Wednesday as much as possible, but obviously can only do that if you can afford it yourself. So yeah, I know they need to ask people, and they've done it the right way, but they're making it so easy for you to spend money. Some of the stuff they're doing.
Look at that's the weirdest thing. How easy is it to spend money? Like, why was it so difficult before?
Well, because you had somebody right at the top that stopped you.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Yeah, so they've come out and obviously to support your club and help as much as you can. Because look, we've seen over the weekend, and I know, Alex, you reported a couple of times and said that anywhere between 200 and 250 grand over the couple of days it was, or 3 days in the shop with tickets and pies, pints and everything like that. The trick is, and we've seen it today, to try and carry that forward, because you can only buy a shirt once, can't you? You can only buy a training top once. So that is the biggest expense when you come to replica shirts and stuff.
And a 90 quid training top.
And a 90 quid training top. But it'll be, what do they do going forward? And we've just seen announced today a couple of absolute beauty of marketing strategy from the guys who've taken control, not taken over yet, because I'm not saying his name. He's technically still the owner, isn't he? But he can't do anything with it until it's actually sold. So the guys that are taking over the day-to-day running, should we call it, that them and the marketing team, and they've probably just gone to him, guys. For the last 10 years, you've had to beg, steal, and borrow for a paperclip and shit. Can you just do whatever ideas you had, get them back out of the way, and we're going to do them.
which brings me nicely, Ash, into a next point, Stevie. The Norwich ticket prices that have been announced. I look at that. That is absolutely incredible. So £20 for an adult on the Cop, £25 in the grandstand and the North, and £30 on the South. This is normal. Do you know what I was going to say? This is normal football pricing, but that's cheap. That is cheap. I know that there's that 20 is plenty routine that they play out in the Premier League in their full stadiums, and it ain't enough. Don't get me wrong. It's not good. You know what I mean? But these prices, I think, are incredible for the Norwich City game.
I agree. I think it's the fresh air, and I think my response to the things that have just been discussed would be that they can only do so much, and they know that they need to try and increase that or keep that sort of groundswell of income coming in. What more can they do? They need the money. We know they need the money. I know it's difficult. We all feel at various points the cost of living crisis that we continue to go through. However, we're saying that this is where we wanted to be as a fan base, and this is where we are now. And the reality is we need to prop the club up to an extent. So objectively, if you're looking at that sort of ticket pricing, I think it's an absolute, it's brilliant. What they've done is brilliant. The whole communication around the Norwich game is fantastic. It's an absolute home run, to use a baseball parlance. They want people in there for 6 p.m. They're doing meal deals till 6:45. They're going to make it a party atmosphere. They're going to play music. They'll probably have a light show. They'll do everything that doesn't cost too much in relative terms to get as many people through the door as early as they possibly can, to spend as much money as they can in the ground in terms of on the concourse for your food and everything else. I get everything that's been said, and I largely agree with it. But once they've done the shirts that you can only do once, and the training and everything else, I just feel that something else will come. Whether that be the Kit Man's Day on Wednesday and Thursday this week, whether it be the Norwich party, whatever it is that comes next. I just feel that, like you just said, that creative sort of harness has been unleashed, and they can now go off and do things. So expect to see things that are happening on match days, match day experiences that people can pay relatively little amount of money for. They will keep coming. And I think we'll be okay. But yeah, absolutely, don't overspend.
Yeah, we've had some suggestions on spending here. So we've got Ben, who's gone. Tom Burton was selling damn fudge kits. They won't sell well. He's correct. And then Paul Turton said Chansiri Halloween costumes might sell well in the shop. I feel like we could haul them out every year. You know what I mean? I feel like it's going to be a day in the Sheffield Wednesday's calendar of Chansiri D-Day, and let's get some of them out. And then Punk Chef said if they can get a dunk tank in the club park, I'll get someone dressed as DC. You're raking it in. I'll chuck a £5 for some wet sponges on that. And then there's a normal suggestion here from Duncan Howe. We're chatting online the other day, suggesting a fourth kit, yellow and light blue. Does the club need 4 kits? No, it doesn't. Is the away kit unpopular? Yes, it is. Are the kits this year unpopular? Yes, they are. The clip art's minging. Don't get me wrong, but I'm happy. It made it easy not to buy the kit this year because of the clip art on there. But you know what I mean? A really smart, light blue collar, yellow one. I'll definitely be lining up for that. But
Dad, just to offer, because we do on this show, we like to have a bit of balance, don't we? Holly's been on, and she's just made a comment about the thing that the guys put out, positioning it as you need to spend money or this thing you love might not continue. It's a red flag to her. It's not come back to us and buy what you want. It was aligned with the payment of wages, because they did comment, didn't they, to say that obviously wages need paying as well. So it could have come across as a bit of a, we need you to come and spend money to pay the wages.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a conversation to be had about the wording and the way it's packaged. We all know that it will fund the club. We understand that. I think Holly's right in the way it was put across. Like, come spend money, or we're absolutely, everybody's on the dole queue if you don't come and spend some money. That's the way some people read it. I understand. I get it to an extent. I think you said it right, Charlie. The say it in a way of you may as opposed to can you. You know what I mean? There's a difference between the.
We all know we're not daft. We know we're skin. I think you've just got to be careful, because for those that can't spend or have already spent and can't spend again, the idea that it's like, oh my God, people aren't going to get paid if I don't go and buy a full shirt. Like, I think it's a fine line, and I think everyone should read it very much as kind of like, we're not totally out the woods yet as well. There's a lot of factors that can still come into play, and we're not, there's no amount of us all turning up and buying a bit more kit and another pie that's going to suddenly like transform this whole situation. But I think generally just the whole vibe of trying to get us all back together and stuff is great. It's just read
clunky
you don't
wording.
need to say that. You don't need to say the quiet part loud. We know people aren't getting paid.
Did you write it for him, Alex?
I was about to say I'd have to go back over the quotes, but I don't know if that might be our fault in the way.
Oh, bloody hell! I was sorry. Go on, Alex.
No, go on, Ash. Go on.
I was going to ask you a question. I was going to ask you a question. It was on that, and it may be a stupid question, but literally the only thing coming into the club is the money spent on match day and in the club shop. So that there's no other outside money coming in apart from probably the league money that comes every few months. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a couple of small payments. Some of the sponsorships are paid in sort of increments and stuff, but it's not a big whack. Which is why certain stuff used to go on sale at this time, or around this time to keep things going until there's a big old Premier League payment, I think, in January. So this couple of months, that's when the 48-year season tickets and third kits and all this sort of stuff. This is when it sort of tied things over.
I tell you what, bring back half-season tickets and bring back away season tickets. Bring them.
Well, look, that question was asked of the administrators. If you put half-season tickets on sale on Monday morning, that would be an absolutely huge whack. But they have to keep it open for potential buyers. So that would have been a really easy win, but they want to give the potential buyers the option of how they want to handle that and give them more control of the finances.
They've got a couple of months on it. Sorry, Stevie, go on.
No, that was a question I was just going to ask in terms of trying to create revenue streams through half-season ticket sales. Is that something they can look at? So obviously that's going to take out any early bird announcements for season tickets for next year, and that whole argument around pricing for those and whether or not we end up paying £600-700 for tickets on this album again. That's all up in the air until all this is done, I'm assuming.
Yeah, essentially. They had. So I went down to the Megastore to have a look at what was going on and try and get a sort of handle on how much that had been spent.
Home or away shirt, Alex?
Well, so I sort of wander in and end up chatting to a couple of people. I'm like, I've been the one peddling this, get down to the club shop and support.
Oh, it's your fault. That's why Holly has commented, "Boo, Alex, boo."
So I've sort of gone down there and speaking to some of the staff, and they're going, we're busy because of you. So obviously joking. And I was like, right, I better put my money where my mouth is then. And obviously the away kit is a lovely little purple and pink number.
Lovely. It's absolutely lovely.
I thought my little girl would love that, you know. So I sort of marched up to it and I'm like, right, money where the mouth is, all the rest of it. And then look at the price tag and it was 62 quid. And I've had to...
How old is your daughter, Ash, now? Alex, now?
3.5.
3.5. 62 English pounds.
I know. So I bought it at the end. I never thought I'd really spend that amount of money on a child. You know, like the material's like a dish towel, you know what I mean? But yeah, I thought better get behind it.
So if anybody papped Alex paying and getting a bag from over the counter from the shop, please.
He didn't queue up. He didn't queue up.
I know he didn't. He went right to the front. Yeah,
I did queue up, but I don't pay for. You know, I'm lucky enough that I don't pay for tickets, do I? So I thought.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, you're one of these. All your fault.
Yeah. On the Chansiri gravy train, payroll in it. Miller out. I tell you what, though, a lot of people have been suggesting various things that we could make money at the club, and we've got Chansiri Guy Fawkes costumes will sell even better, which is interesting because you could have an Amadou Pacquiao Guy Fawkes because he already looks like one, and then we can also have Chansiri pinatas. And I think I've lost the comment now, but somebody suggested earlier on to get cake ball pinatas, which cake ball pinatas and cake ball baubles, you know, for your Christmas tree. If anybody in China is watching this, cake ball baubles for the like a little box of them. I think they fly out because the cake ball was fucking hilarious. So right then. Oh, and then we had bring back Reggie Blinker wigs. I don't know why, but you know, both Ike Ugbo and Sean Fuseri have cut their dreadlocks off, but just bring them back anyway. You know what I mean? I'm sure Stevie will buy one to reminisce like the olden days. So right then, so 122,000 people. I've got to come back to this, Chaz. 122,000 people. Did you get on YouTube and watch the seats get taken out?
Yeah. And I made my friends watch it as well. I was like, watch this. What am I looking at? Look, they're taking a chair out. Yeah. Keep looking. Yeah, of course I did. I think it got up to more than that, you know. I'm sure. I think it hit a bit more. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. But it was the fact that early on it was like, oh my God, 15,000 people are watching this. That's crazy. And then it just like skyrocketed. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was just so, I don't know. He was really gone when those chairs were coming out, because it was like, oh, you know, people were talking about really complicated financial things like, well, he's still technically owns a da-da-da and he has a and I'm like, I don't understand what any of that means. The second they were ripping it, I was like, he's gone. The statue is toppled. Like, that counts. Yeah. I'll take it. No take backs. You can't put the chairs back in. Smash them. It was great.
I'd been whoring myself out all over the radio station that I get teased for mentioning a lot of nowadays. And I was off air with Hawksby Jacobs, and I said, look, you know, as soon as he's gone, we're out of control. You know what I mean? And Paul Hawksby goes, it's like the toppling of the Saddam Hussein statue. And I went, for God's sake, don't say that on air. And he did, and that's the type of thing these you know, radio royalty chaps can get away with nowadays. You know what I mean? If I'd have said that, I'd have been hauled across the coals. I'd have had me pass snatched out my hand. What else have we got to talk about?
Dan, I don't know if you caught it, but obviously our guest panelist here was in the stadium quite short after. Then he did a bit of a live video, which went down a treat, Alex. Obviously, watching it firsthand, should we call it? How did it feel? Obviously, you'd looked out onto that stand for a fair few years, getting in the stand early and everything. But it felt a bit weird for you, did it?
Not like genuinely. I'm not hamming this up for clout or. I felt genuinely emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was this. You sort of walk. Anyone that sort of sits in the south or has been in the south, sort of walk up, don't you? And it smashes you in the face. And I think that, you know, I haven't got a lifetime of Wednesdays and behind me. You know, it's not like me. It made me think of my granddad or, you know, any of this sort of stuff. But it was like, you know, I've got goosebumps now just thinking about that moment of because, like Charlie said, it's just you just felt this community sort of lifted in front of your eyes. And you know, I sat down and thought about it for a piece that I wrote later that weekend, and after, you know, Flint knocked down to Parma. I've never felt that way in a football stadium. It was such, even Wembley and all that sort of stuff. It was, it was incredible. And I think, from our point of view, like everyone else, we just sort of lived it for a year now, and taking calls at 11:30 at night, and sifting through EFL regulations till 2 a.m, all this sort of stuff. And I feel myself getting a bit wobbly now. Like, it just felt like that moment there was just like, fucking hell, it's happened. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like, like there's about, when you see people who work around Christmas, right? I work in hospitality, and there's always a vibe around these people that are all in it together, but they're all like in a good mood because it's Christmas. Like, morning, you're all right. And you're like, hiya. You know what I mean? Is it that kind of palpable atmosphere around the club right now?
We were really unsure. So me and Rob were sat in his car in the Hillsborough Park car park at like 9 a.m.
Was he talking very slowly?
Doggy.
Ashley.
What? Oh, sorry, I thought I was on mute.
We got the wrong car park, and it was an absolute disaster. It just wasn't what we turned up for at all.
Yeah. You'd want your hot pants and you for no reason.
I'll tell you what, if he sees this, he's going to kill me. But yeah, we were sort of waiting outside for hours, and there's sort of that moment, as soon as we get the WhatsApp, the court documents have been filed or have come back, and it's official, and that's when we can run our stuff. I thought we had this sort of moment of that initial celebration that, the witch is dead, or however you want to put it. But then walking up to the stadium, knowing that we were going to bump into some of the employees, it was literally like this. Right, okay, you're not walking in someone's workplace who's just been put into administration and in some celebratory mood. But then bumping into a lot of the people, I think there's that feeling of uncertainty, and it must be a scary time for them. But to a man, to a man and woman.
Weird way to talk about Rob, that, mate.
But it was genuinely a relief, and that uncertainty is always going to be there. But it was like, it couldn't go on like this. It was going to end one way or another.
Do you feel like you've got a bit of a different job now? Do you feel like your job's changed a little bit?
Oh, like you wouldn't believe. So I did 2 years of news at a different newspaper before, coming on this gig. And there've been weeks where I've written like 2 stories on football,
right?
And it's all been other stuff, and developing a bit of a relationship with with some of the employees, the staff and people on the ground there. It's a lot of the stuff is, sound really corny here, but sort of working for them, if you like, on wages and stuff. About halfway through, I spoke to one person there who ended up they're asking us, are we likely to get paid this month? Because they weren't able to get any answers from.
They were asking you.
Yeah, because the guys at the club couldn't give them a firm answer one way or another because Chansiri hadn't communicated. And yeah, just this phone call. I'll always remember it. Phone call, and this person's on tears down the phone, to a local journalist because it's become so difficult. And sort of from that moment, that when I can't dress it up any other way. It's been really hard the last few months, as it has been for everyone. I get that. But if I do this for another 30 or 40 years,
that'll stay with you.
I'll always look back at this summer, and hopefully we contributed in some small way. Ultimately, it was the fans that accelerated it and got him out. So I wouldn't take any credit for it whatsoever.
Well, I tell you what, Alex. Look, you know what I mean. And I want to echo this as well. But a comment here from Duncan saying, "Huge thanks to Alex, Rob for the etc." Joe just gets an etc. there for their coverage. They've been immense. And genuinely, I think you have. I've got a newfound, the conversations you and I have had over the summer stuff. I've got a newfound respect for journalism as a profession, job one. It's Ash and Stevie keep using the word journos on our tweets, by the way. I know it sounds like a slur when they say it, but they don't mean it like that. Yeah.
Scumbag hacks.
You'll notice anything that comes from me anymore will not be journos. I got called out last week privately, and forevermore it's journalist or artiste when it comes to you, Alex.
And it's got the black emojis as well. So when Stevie pulls that out, but I did big Alex up today with a professional. So
you did. You did
also say he was dogging in a car park. So I mean,
we also talking about that. We did have a comment that said, "Has Ash been kicked off for dogging when you just get out there for 5 minutes?"
No, I got a bit excited, and the Wi-Fi, not the Wi-Fi router thing out, the USB.
Science. And then because you mentioned Rob Starton, we had a couple of people say, was he talking about Dejphon? And Sayod had also said, Alex, have you said to Rob, it's not Dejphon. Yeah. There's been some absolute beauties of announcement. We had Dejphon on TalkSport the other day. Dejphon. We had Dejphon Chansiri. That was Sam Matterface as he did that one. Yeah. Have you had subsequent information that it is Dejphon? Because it's wrong.
I think every single one of us that has covered the club in the last 10 years pronounces it in a slightly different way. I genuinely don't think anyone knows.
I'm sorry, but there's only one way to pronounce the C word. So his name.
It's going to be Chandamort for the rest of time itself. Now, Stevie, I'm sorry, I haven't come to you in a while, but one of the new suitors for the club, and we'll probably ask this of Chris tomorrow, has been the Walton Penner Group. Seems to have come out recently, and then there was, and I think James did put a disclaimer on the Wednesday Lad Eye podcast because he was the one that when the Waltons are sat there, and I was looking for John Boy, which is a reference from 40 years ago. The Jim Bob and John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. But they weren't there on Saturday. But these are the guys that are in charge of Denver Broncos, yes?
Yes, I believe. And I may or may not be right with this. I think they own Walmart, or they've got links to Walmart as well. That might be wrong.
Do you know what? A few years ago, if they'd have come out, I know Tom Burton would have been making up a load of Asda jerseys. But they don't own Asda anymore, do they?
Yeah. They definitely have been linked. I don't know the extent to which, or how true that is, but if you want to talk from a financial point of view, they are 77.4 billion net worth, the richest NFL franchise in American football by 50 million. Something.
So why are the Denver Broncos so shit?
That's your wheelhouse. If we were talking Spurs, or we were talking Warriors, or we were talking Bulls or Heat, then come and talk to me. I have no idea what NFL is.
Bulls and
basketball season's just started.
Fair enough. So so you might get your expenses paid finally, Alex, if they get in touch. But we'll ask all this of Chris tomorrow. I don't have anything more for Alex. I feel like we've covered a lot there, just in general conversation. I quite like it. Do you want to pile on, Ash, and give?
I have one.
I have one. You know what you like with these journos.
I know. Well, once I've got them, I just want to say about the message that was put up on the scoreboard before the game. Did you know anything about that, Alex? Or was that a total surprise to yourself? Because I know Rob did manage to film it. I think he did. I think it was Rob.
Yeah, I don't know if Rob. No, yeah, I don't know whether someone sent that to Rob. It was further on from where he'd be sat. I don't know. I've not spoken to him about it. But yeah, no, it was a complete surprise to me. I, like everyone else, because the song was halfway through, wasn't it? And then it went ding ding, and I'm sat there going, "Oh no!" They've got everyone in the ground. This is like the bold new era, and the music's gone off, and then everyone realizes at the same time, And it reminded me of that Peterborough second leg, with the video that Darren did. So yeah, no, it was a pleasant surprise for me as well.
Yeah, it was something fantastic, wasn't it? Because it was like I say, out of the blue. And then people just it went a little bit quiet, didn't it? When everyone realised, what's this coming up? And then it said, like, I'm not saying the name .exe, and then it come up, didn't it? There's loading, rebooting, and then we have it. It was inspired, and like I mentioned earlier, the media team, whoever come up with that, we've lauded the DJ for the last few weeks for his song collection for pre-match and half-time. But I think that topped the lot. I think it was absolutely fantastic. And I think stuff like that gets the fans on side a lot more because they appreciate the humour, don't they? And obviously, it was, I think it topped off a good day off the field, not so good day on it.
Yeah, I feel like the gallows humour that's carried us through. Because I mean, bear in mind, Chaz, as well. Like this has been, I don't want to say relatively quick, but when you look at Blackpool, but I know that we're still in the middle of it. This is like the midway point. This is the tipping point. I say it's been quick, but we've only really been protesting for 6 months, right? And that is a relatively quick turnaround for this type of thing, which goes to show that we were in a lot of shit that we didn't know about.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's why it was quite hard that not everybody got on board with protesting at the same time, because I think the sheer scale of the problem doesn't always become apparent until it is. And really, we could have been looking down 2-3 years, just slipping further and further down. Like, I'm not saying we're out of the woods yet by any stretch of the imagination, but the removal of him at the top, I did not think we were going to see that for quite some time. When the early sales started falling through, and it wasn't just as simple as he's gone, crap, all right, I'll sell it. Okay, we'll sell it to the first guy that comes along. Once that really wasn't happening, it was like, how is this ever going to be okay? How is this ever going to work out? So it does. The fact that he's gone before Christmas is actually insane in a way, really, for this year. But it's also like Sheffield Wednesday years are like dog years. So for like every month that passes is like 8 years that you age. So so almost, while it's technically gone quick, it has aged us all horribly, and the trauma will linger on. But
when I go to Turkey, go, oh, Mr. Food, you come again? Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday again in it? Yeah. You know what I mean? I tell you what, let's just go through a couple of comments that came through. I'm getting rinsed out because the Broncos have won 5 in a row. They have, but they've been trash for years. They're just having a decent season. They'll fall away, and they've gambled on a young team, the Broncos, apparently. So I'm not getting educated on my football. It was my birthday. I said I didn't see Red Zone. I'm sorry, lads. I'm sorry. And then John Wakefield's gone with Alex can't speak to Rob after the dogging incident. I feel we've started a thing there, Alex. I'm sorry, mate.
No. Apologies.
Ash, you'll be hearing from my lawyers.
And in terms of dog years, Charlie, Ben's gone with how old is Ted the dog, because he got a great area yesterday. One of my favourite games. I think it was just me playing it with a couple of lads on Twitter.
Can we get him on the pod, please? Can we get Poochie on the pod?
Am I Wednesday with Ted the dog?
Yeah, what's it like? What's it like supporting Wednesday, Ted? Rough. Yeah, well done. Thanks a lot. Bye, Wednesday. See you later. That's an old Russ Abbott gag for you there, kids. I tell you what, that's all right. But I tell you what, we met Ted the dog, didn't we, Alex? He was down at he had his own banner. He was down at the London. I keep saying the London riots, the London protests at the London riots. I think that's what Mark the Pitch Morale had come down for. To be fair, but he was vastly disappointed. Like, you know what I mean?
There were some characters down there, weren't there? It was a cracking day. But this is what I mean. You look back in the fullness of time and all this stuff, and the effort that it went in, and a weird few months, but a lot of cool stuff. That sense of community, and if whoever comes in and does get it right, it's ready, packaged, and ready to go, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Alex, do you expect to be very busy this week, or are we now in that lull?
I think it'll be a bit of a lull. So, it'll sort of depend on a few phone calls tomorrow, and who. In terms of takeover stuff, I don't expect that we'll get a great deal, maybe, until things get close. Because things will be set up in a proper process. Do you know what I mean?
Oh God, what's that like?
Weird.
Yeah.
So
everyone will be keeping stuff away from us, nosy buggers.
Yeah.
So
I was just going to ask what you're going to write about then.
Yeah.
You know what, Stephen?
What John at Somerbore is up to these days? Because they always go well, don't they, Alex?
They keep us in a job. You know, all the exclusives we've done all summer, and how's Anthony Masaba getting on in Turkey? Is the one to,
Dan can go and see him. He's booked in next month.
I'll pop in, see how he's getting on. We've listen, before we get to any other business, Ash, I know you've got some bits. We've what's that? I think the TWW crew deserve lots of praise for how they've navigated the last few months. Do you know what, John? I appreciate that. It's been tough. I like open, frank conversation. I like it when people disagree, and I feel like we haven't posted ourselves to a mast somewhat. We've kind of gone, this is what it is. This is how some people feel about it. This is how other people feel about it. And good Lord, have I caught some strays the last 6 months. And it's on the whole, it's been quite good. You know, I've spoken a lot with Jake recently. I've spoken with Ian a few times, and even Jim over the early part of the year as well. And obviously spoke to Alex, and speaking to you guys on a Monday night has been dead nice. It's nice that someone's picked up on that. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And then there's also a big shout out there for Punk Chef, True John, and Chef Cam as well, that have also done it. And I know James has done a lot of work as well. And Christ, I am knackered. And I tell you what, Alex, there'll be a point where you will walk away from this job. Because bear in mind as well, and this is the worst use of this phrase I've ever used in my life, this is a passion project, right? My passion was wavering. You can walk away from a job and go, well, thank God I ain't got to write about Sheffield Wednesday anymore. Because I was just thinking there's an element of, you've only been writing about Sheffield Wednesday under the Chansiri era. So you have no idea what your job's going to be. You might think, this isn't as mad as a fish in petrol enough for me. I'm out of here. I'm going to go talk about Rotherham United or something.
People have always said that, like, you know, if you covered a normal club, you'd never have it. I think I'd just be bored, senseless. You know, if someone comes in and everything works, like, I've got to write pieces about who's playing at left back on Saturday. It'll be
What's that like? Right, Ash, let's get to some any other business, my brother.
I've got just a couple of pieces. One thing, I've had a message coming to me tonight that. Yes, we've seen the Norwich tickets have gone on sale. There's a guy, Cy Hodgkinson, North York's Owls, has got a couple of tickets for that game. He can't make it anymore. He'd like to donate them to a couple of people that can't otherwise able to go. So if you get in touch with him, I retweeted it out earlier, but he's still got them available. So if anyone wants to go to the game against Norwich, I think it's an adult and an under 17 ticket available. So thank you very much for that. And on the same sort of vein, people who have listened and interacted with us the last couple of years, we've got our community initiative. Obviously, this season that was put on pause because obviously we did not want to fund the recent regime of buying shirts and donating tickets, such like. But that is going to be going back in full force. So we will be announcing some bits and pieces with that in the coming days. So once again, we will love nothing more than help people get to Essex, especially in coming up for the Christmas period and in this new era of Sheffield Wednesday. So yeah, look out for that on our socials because we'll if you can't get to Sheffield Wednesday for whatever reason and you'd like to go and cheer the boys on, then get in touch and we'll love to help people out. So that's what we're doing it for. And thank you very much.
Does anybody else have anything to add before I wrap this up?
Just one last plug for the show that we'll drop this week, the Wednesday.
Yeah, we've taken a change from my Wednesday. We've gone with your Wednesday. We'll be talking to Chris Wigfield tomorrow, and we've got a whole myriad of questions that we've taken from some of our contacts over the last day, and they're absolutely fucking insane. Go on, Ash.
Do you think he's a ketchup in the fridge or ketchup in the cupboard, man?
Right. Honestly, if he stands there and tells me that as a grown man, he eats ketchup and he keeps it in the fridge, I'm ending the call there and then. I'm not having it. I've got.
Mate, I sat in London and watched you mix mustard and mayo. What is wrong with you?
I'm a grown-up. I like things spicy. I don't just eat sugary nonsense to get kids to eat chips. But anyway, listen, thanks a lot for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure. Charlie, Stevie, Ash, thank you so much. And to you, Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. I did bully Alex to come on because it was my birthday yesterday. So I went, you can't say no to coming on tonight because it's my birthday. And I'm going to leave you alone for a bit. It's been an absolute pleasure. Now, one thing we do need to bid farewell to is my Chansiri impression. So I'm going to leave you with this. Hey. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week. Bringing you football analysis.
He said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you modern references.
I did a little 1920s fist pump there. Not done that in a while.
If we could do just a 1-to-1, not me because it'd last 7 days apparently, like Craig David.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This show's like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. When, hey, you got to play a 4-4-2. She.
I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday Week. Join us.
Put on your pod